So if you remember, we were talking about getting healthy in our last lesson. We talked about the different things we can do to be healthy, to have a healthy diet. We also talked about some programs like having juice, vegetable juice and fruit juices. We talked about going on a retreat, and we discussed the differences between different ways of getting healthy. So in this lesson, we're going to talk a little more about this. But before we talk about our next exercise, let me also talk a little bit about relative clauses. We talked about relative clauses and the difference between them. We agreed that if you want to talk about people, we can use who and we can use that. For things, we can use which and also that. For places, we usually use where. For possessives, we use whose. And for time, we use when. So, and we also talked about the two examples when we use when the relative clause is optional, when it's not the subject of the sentence, like sentence B here. So this means in sentence B, you can say the food that we eat usually contains toxins, because that is not the subject of the sentence. The subject of sentence B is we. We is the subject here. In this situation, it's up to you. If you want to leave that, okay. If you want to write that, that's okay. It's up to you. But in the first sentence, because the word that, it's the subject of the sentence. So this means you have to include it. You have to use it in its form. You cannot say, for example, I'm the type of person eats 3 meals. That's not correct. You have to include it in the sentence, okay? So we did this, and we did also exercise number 5. So in these sentences, we used that, who, which, and so on. So I'm just going to quickly read them for you. Number 1, most of the food that I buy is organic. Number 2, I have some friends who are vegetarians. I don't know anyone who has been on a fast. The food that I had last night wasn't very healthy. There's at least one person in my family who eats meat every day. In my family, we usually eat vegetables that we buy in the market. I don't know anyone whose lifestyle is really healthy. I tend to go to restaurants where they serve healthy food. And number 9, New Year is a time when I always eat too much. And the last one, I know a shop where you can buy really good fruit and vegetables. All right, so this was the last exercise we finished. Now what we want to do is, I want you to take a look at exercise number 6. And after that, we're gonna choose the right word. Okay, so here, of course, we have some new words, but I want you to guess. So in this exercise, just a second. So what we want to do here in exercise number 6, we want to choose the right answer. So number 1, it says, a surgeon, a GP, is a doctor who does operations. What do you think? Which one? Which doctor does operations? What do you think?
What meaning GB? I don't understand
GP, it means general practitioner. It's short for general practitioner. But do you know surgeon?
Yes, I think surgeon. for the person who, the doctor.
Correct.
Yes, surgeon is.
Correct. So who does the operation? Is it the GP or is it the surgeon?
Surgeon. A surgeon.
That's correct. Raja, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ah, right. Welcome to the lesson. Okay. What do you think, Raja? Who does operations? Is it the surgeon?
I think, yeah, surgeon.
Ah, okay. So you agree. You think it's the surgeon. Okay. So GP. Let me explain what a GP is. So GP, the word GP, it's short for general practitioner. So a general practitioner. This is like a family doctor. Do you get the idea? So if you have any small problem, you go to the GP, he will check you. If it's something small, or if it's a small problem, he will give you maybe antibiotic, Panadol. You know, if you have a small injury, he will sew it for you. Do you understand? Simple things. This is GP. But if you have a big problem,
Here,
Huh?
here in the مستوصف.
yes, exactly. Yes, that's correct. A GP is not a specialist. مش أخصائي ومش مش استشاري. يعني هو الطبيب العام الأول في المستوصف. هو أول من بيقابل المريض في العادة. الحاجات الصغيرة كلها حيديرها لك. But if you have a big problem, if you need an operation, if you have, you know, a serious illness, the GP will refer you to a specialist. Refer, do you know what refer means? Refer اللي هو التحويل. حولك لأخصائي أو this is the meaning. Okay, now what about number 2? Oops, number 2, yes. Who can guess?
I think an operating theater.
That's actually correct. Yes. In operating theater, sometimes they say operating room. Excuse me. An operating theater or an operating room. This is where you have your operation. Okay. And usually doctors, they call it OT. Even here in Libya, the surgeons call the operation room OT. So OT, اختصار ل operating theater. All right. Now, Raja, what about number 3? Can you make a guess?
Okay. An infection or
And this word is asthma.
is an illness which makes it difficult for you to breathe. What's the asthma or?
Asthma. Do you know asthma? People who
Asthma. Yeah, asthma. Yeah.
So
I think it's asthma.
Nice. Okay. So let's choose asthma. And Sana, what about number 4? What do you think?
Specialist is a doctor who knows a lot about one area of medicine.
Right. I think you're right. Yes, that's correct. So a specialist is a doctor who knows a lot about one area, not everything, but one thing. Correct. All right, number 5, A and E in English, it means accident and emergency department. A and E, it means accident and emergency department. And a ward اللي هو احنا نقوله في القسم، يعني شخص يعني مرقدينه في القسم يعني في المستشفى. Okay, so Malak, which one do you think is the right answer? Is the part of a hospital
one,
the first
the
one?
A and E, yeah.
You're right. The A&E department, this is where you go if you have an emergency. For example, like an accident, a car accident, maybe you burn yourself with hot water, oil, maybe you get electrocuted by electricity, you know, this kind of thing, you go to the A&E department. And the last one, Raja, what do you think? So let me read them for you. The first one is an allergy.
An allergy, yeah.
And
I didn't
a migraine.
get the second, yeah. What does that mean?
A migraine is a headache that's really, really bad, and it stays for a very long time. This is a migraine. Do you know what we call it in Arabic, migraine?
Something like صداع.
But longer, worse than headache. It's not a normal headache.
Okay, what about allergy?
Allergy, for example, some people, they can't eat maybe I don't know, peanuts or eggs, sometimes
okay,
sometimes tuna.
I think allergy.
Correct. Also, some people have allergies in spring, right? From flowers and dust and
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So this is called allergy. So migraine, do you know what it means in Arabic? Maybe Sanan knows migraine. What's migraine?
Yeah. صداع نصفي I translate.
شقيقة.
Yes, شقيقة, yes, correct. This is a migraine. And usually for migraine, you need special medicine. If you take Panadol or aspirin, it doesn't really work. It doesn't help a lot with migraine. But if you have a normal headache, Panadol and aspirin, they work usually, and you will feel better if you take them. But a migraine, you have to go to a specialist. Do you understand? You have to go to someone specialist in neurology, a specialist in neurology, which means nerves, the brain, for example. And if they say, yes, you have a migraine, then they will give you specific drugs. يعني أدويتها عادة خاصة شقيقة. أدوية الصداع العادي ما يتخدمش في العادة.
Yeah.
All right, so these are some health issues. All right, very nice. Now, in our next part of the exercise, we're going to check the answers. So I'm going to play the CD so we can see if our answers are all correct or not. So listen and check. So let's do this. Let's check our answers, okay? And after that, we can do the next exercise. So let's go to the listening track. Intermediate. So we need to go to track 39. Track 39. CD2, 39.
Track 39. 1.
A surgeon is a doctor who does operations.
2.
An operating theatre is the place where you have an operation.
3.
Asthma is an illness which makes it difficult for you to breathe.
4.
A specialist is a doctor who knows a lot about one area of medicine.
5.
The A&E department is the part of a hospital where you go if you have an emergency.
6.
An allergy is a medical problem that some people get when they eat, breathe or touch certain things.
All right, very nice. So this means all of our answers are correct. That's great. And we can take a look at our next exercise. So in part B of this question, question number 7, what we want to do is, it says fill in the gaps in these sentences with words from 6a, and we also want to use the relative clauses. Okay, so first of all, you have to write the disease or the medical problem. So this means we're gonna choose from these words, and at the same time we need to use the relative pronouns. So let's do number one. So number one, it says something is an extremely painful headache, blah, blah, can also make you feel sick. What do you think, Sana? What's an extremely painful headache that can make you sick?
Migraine.
A migraine. And what should we write here? Should we use who,
Which?
that, which, where? What do you think?
Which?
Correct. You are right. So we can say a migraine is a headache, is an extremely painful headache, which, but can we use another answer, Sana? Or only?
Maybe.
Correct. Nice. Okay, number two, Raja. It says, number two, something is a big room with beds in a hospital. Something patients receive medical treatment. Let me show you the words we have. What do you think?
Okay.
So we want a room, but not the operation room. Because here, this is a place where patients get treatment, not surgery. So what do we call a place where patients get treatment?
Okay. Is it for operations or not?
Not for operations, no. Because
okay.
if it's for operations, we will say operating theater, right? But this one is not for operations. It's the opposite. Let's read it again. So it's a big room with beds in a hospital.
Is it the A and E?
The A and E, this is for emergencies. But I think the one that they're talking about in number two, it's not for emergencies.
I didn't.
You can guess. Look for another word for a place. And how many have we got so far? We've got operating theater. This is one place, right?
Mm-hmm.
We also have a surgery. This is a place. We have the A&E department. This is a place. And we have a ward. This is also a place.
Okay, what's a ward?
A ward is like اللي هو بالعربي احنا نقولوا زي القسم نفسه داخل القسم اللي هو الإيواء. الإيواء اللي داخل القسم، يعني الشخص اللي ما يبدأ مريض وعنده مشكلة كبيرة مثل السكر متاعه متعلي هلبة أو الضغط متاعه ملخبط، مرات يشدوه في المستشفى إيواء يبات. So this is the meaning of ward. It's a place where you stay. You'll stay for the night.
Okay, is it a ward?
You're right, it is. Yeah, for number two, they're actually talking about a ward. You're right. So a ward is a big room with beds. So a ward is a big room with beds in a hospital.
Where patients?
Nice. Where patients receive medical treatment. Very good, very good. All right, Malak, what about number three? What do you think?
Specialist A specialist
You're right.
is a doctor who
Uh-huh.
gives
Okay. Can you complete it?
who gives medical treatment to people who live in a particular area.
Right. Nice. Okay. And number 4, Sana, what do you think? Can you guess?
Yes. Is a building or an office?
Mhm.
I think A&E department.
But let's check. Let's finish it. It
Okay.
says, is a building or an office? You
You can go
and ask.
a GP or a dentist for medicine advice. GP department maybe.
بس ما عندناش احنا جي بي ديبارتمنت هنا.
هنا الجي بي
الجي بي اللي هو الدكتور نفسه, not the place. But in English, the place that where a GP works, اللي هو الoffice نفسه, if in British English they call it a surgery. هي غريبة شوية هي, رغم انه ما يندرج فيها surgery, لكن المكتب نفسه يسموه فيه a surgery. Do you get the idea? In American English, you can just say the doctor's office, المكتب متاعه خلاص, أو غرفة المعاينة اللي هي يقولوا examination room, يسموا فيها مرات examination room, غرفة المعاينة, كشف examination room, مرات يقولوا لها in American English, مرات يقولوا لها doctor's office, المكتب متاعه. هذا في حالة يعني مجرد كشف واستشارة, يعني هذه الزيارة الأولى. كلمات تانية يستعمل فيها لو كان اللي هو القسم الخارجي, عيادات خارجية, يقولوا لها مرات OTC out patient OPD. طبعا OPD خلينا نكتب لكم الاختصار الكامل. OPD اختصار ل outpatient department, اللي هي العيادات الخارجية. عادة الحاجات الصغيرة كلها اليومية اللي تندار في نفس اليوم, عادة يبعثوا البيشنت للOPD اللي هي outpatient department, يعني ما فيش مبيت, المريض حاجته يديرها في وقتها ويطلع. outpatient department. الأماكن الثلاثة هما كلهم شبه نفس المعنى, سواء قلتي OPD, سواء قلتي examination room, قلتي office, أو قلتي surgery. هذا هو عادة المكان الأول اللي فيه الجي بي حيكشف عليك الأول. If it's some
surgery, the room with the operation.
No, the room with the operation,
operating
بالضبط, operating theater. ومرات يقولوا له operating room, operating theater, operating room. مرات يختصروا فيها OT, OR. الإنجليزي يقولوا OT, الأمريكان يقولوا OR, اللي هي operating room. وحتى ال A&E اللي هي in British English, in America they say ER. Do you know the series, المسلسل ER? Does anybody know it?
No.
It's an old series, مسلسل قديم شوية. اللي هو كلها في قصة غرفة, وكلها في قسم الإسعاف ER. But in English they say A&E. يعني في اختلافات بسيطة. So this means we actually need to use a surgery. هذا المكان اللي حيكون فيه متواجد الجي بي. So number 3. Can you complete it? Yeah, number 4.
Surgery is the building. ماش نشبه. أيوة, is the building or an office where you can go and ask a GP or a dentist for medical advice.
Correct. Yes, that's right. Okay, where? What about number 5? What do you think, Raja?
Is a piece of paper. I think it's Where is it? A prescription.
You're right. A prescription, correct. That's actually correct. A prescription. Mhm.
Yeah, which the doctor gives you.
Mhm. So a prescription is a piece of paper. Can you continue?
Which or that?
A piece of paper which the doctor gives you. Yeah, but I think that sounds a little better. I don't know. Let's use that. That the doctor gives you so you can get the medicine you need. Very nice, very nice. Okay, Malak, can you do number 6?
Allergy is a disease in part of your body which is caused by bacteria or virus.
Are you sure it's allergy? It's not something else?
Mhm.
Do you think maybe it's something else?
Maybe.
Take a look. Because allergy اتفقنا ليها في number 6 كان هذا تعريفها. It's a medical problem that some people get when they eat, breathe, or touch certain things.
Asthma.
ندوي لك تعريف الالرجي اللي هو جاوبناه احنا في السؤال نفسه.
Yes, I know. Okay, migraine.
حتى migraine جاوبناها في رقم 1 migraine.
Yes.
اللي هي extremely painful headache that
It's
can make
still
you
one asthma. But no.
No, asthma حتى هي جاوبناها في رقم 3 قلنا asthma is an illness which makes it difficult for you to breathe. هذه رقم 3 asthma تعريفها.
Okay, an infection.
Right. What does it mean infection? An
عدوى.
infection. عدوى صح؟ أو عدوى صح لكن فيها حتى معنى مرات تمشي كالتهاب infection. هو في الغالب بتكون عن طريق عدوى جاية. اغلب الانفكشنز يعني يجوا بالعدوى لكن في منهم زي مثلا اللي هم الجروح اللي تلتهب مثلا لو تلوتت او خش لها مثلا جرح هذا يعتبر انفكشن لكن مش جاي بعدوى يعني جاي من الشخص بروحه يروح يعني ما نظفش ما عقمش الجرح ما دارش كحول مثلا لكن غيرك مثلا كورونا نقدر نقول عليها انفكشن وتجيب العدوى. So it's correct. All right, so an infection is a disease in part of your body, excuse me, in part of your body is caused by, okay, what's the relative clause, Malak, that we need to use here? What do you think?
Which or that?
Correct. You're right. Which is caused by bacteria or a virus. All right, so here in these two exercises, number 6 and 7, we have a lot of new information about health. Right? Lots of new words, I think. So let's go and check the summary in page 147. Let's take a look at the summary. 147. 72. All right. Here are some of the words. So a surgeon, this is the doctor who does operations. An operating theater, this is the place where you have an operation. Asthma is the illness that makes it difficult to breathe. A specialist is a doctor who knows a lot in one area of medicine. The A&E department is a part of hospital where you go if you have an emergency. طبعا emergency اللي هي الطوارئ يعني حاجة طارئة إسعاف يعني هذا معنى emergency. حوادث الحاجات الطارئة كلها يمشوا لل A&E. allergy اللي هي اتفقنا انها الحساسيه اي نوع من الحساسيه هم طبعا في منها انواع لكن allergy كلمه عامه ليهم كلهم تمشي. So it's a medical problem that some people get when they eat, breathe, or touch certain things. And migraine is an extremely painful headache which can also make you feel sick. هذا اتفقنا اللي هو شقيقة migraine. A ward is a big room with beds in a hospital where patients receive treatment. اللي هو الوارد اللي يقصدوا بعادة القسم الداخلي يعني اللي هو الإيواء في المستشفيات أو المصحات. A surgery is a building or an office where you can go and ask a GP or a dentist for medical advice. A GP, it says, is a doctor who gives medical treatment to people who live in an area. GP اختصار لي general practitioner. And the prescription is a piece of paper, هي الوصفة prescription, that the doctor gives you so you can give medicine. And the last one here, when عليها العدوى أو الالتهاب, infection, is a disease in part of your body which is caused by a bacteria or a virus. And here you can see we can use allergy as an adjective. So we can say, for example, I'm allergic to something. You can say I'm allergic to nuts, or I'm allergic to eggs. Allergic يعني عندي حساسية من شيء معين. All right, so see, these are some of the words which are related to health. So let's go back and let's see what we've got. Okay, so this was the last exercise. Skip. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the news in this lesson. So it says here, good news, bad news. So in this lesson, we're going to talk, first of all, about some collocations which are related to the news, some words we can use to talk about the news. So this is the first exercise. And after that, present perfect simple. So we're going to talk about two ways of using the present perfect, how to use it for active sentences and how to use it for passive sentences. So let's start with a few questions here. So the first question says, where do you get your news from? Do you get it from TV, newspapers, or is it from the radio, the internet? And which one do you prefer? So let's give this question. Let's start with this question. Maybe Raja has an opinion. So what about you, Raja? What do you watch the news?
No.
Okay. What about maybe? I'm not sure. Do you like? What do you like? Do you like
I
technology, fashion,
Yeah.
sport, fitness, makeup? What do you like?
Yeah, I like makeup. I like fashion. I like series.
Series,
Series, yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
nice. So this means when you want to check the latest news about maybe new makeup, new fashion, maybe new series or actors and actresses, where do you check? Where do you find this news? Where do you find it?
Maybe from Facebook.
Okay. So from the internet in general, right?
Yeah.
But what do you check most? Do you use Facebook more? Or do you use YouTube? Do you check in Google? How do you find the news you want?
YouTube.
Okay. So YouTube and Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you can also get this news on the television, right? Or you don't like the television?
I don't like the television at all.
So you prefer to get your news about your favorite shows and makeup and all of this.
Yeah.
You prefer to get it from the internet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, but why do you prefer the internet, Raja? What do you think is the difference?
It's more easier.
Interesting. Okay, so this means it's easier to find any information you want. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Good answer. Interesting. Okay. So what about, for example, when you find the news you want, Raja, do you prefer to listen to it and watch it, or do you prefer to maybe read an article about the latest show or the latest fashion show or something? What do you prefer?
I prefer watching videos, not reading articles.
But why do you prefer watching a video instead of reading?
It's not boring.
So you think reading an article or reading a blog or something is boring?
Yeah.
I see. Okay. All right. Can you give me an example of the latest stories in the news at the moment? The latest fashion stories or the latest entertainment story or the latest, I don't know, fitness, makeup, any of the things you like. What's the latest trend now?
I can't understand you.
Okay, so my question is, I want you to tell me about the latest news. And by news, I mean the latest news and the things you follow. Maybe the latest news in series, about actors, about fashion. Do you know what this word means? The latest trends?
Yeah, but it's like I don't follow the trends. It's like
But what do you follow exactly?
what?
What do you follow exactly?
Series, makeup, fashion.
Okay, but is there a show or a channel or a YouTuber you always follow?
No, I only search in YouTube and watch anything.
Okay.
Yeah, not a channel or something like this.
I see. But what's the last thing you saw about fashion and about series? What's the last video you saw? What was it about?
I watched the last video about series. Yeah, I saw the Peaky Blinders series. Yeah, I saw the title, and I think that I'm going to watch it.
So you haven't started it and you want to check first. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
So you want some information about the series. You want to see if it's fun or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Okay, very nice. All right, so this is the idea, but of course here in this lesson, I think maybe we're going to focus on political news more in this lesson. You know, like wars, governments, politics, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think your answers are good. All right, so here, let's move on to number 2. And what we want to do is we want to match the verbs on the left with phrases or words on the right side. So Sana, so here it says pay off a debt, but take part. What do you think is the right answer, Sana, here? Take part. What do you think? Which one do you think
part
is?
in a demonstration.
That's right. Take part in a demonstration.
Yes,
Nice.
because I am cheating.
You're cheating.
Yes.
Astaghfirullah.
Because I don't know a lot about this verb.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's all right because a lot of it is. I think it's a lot of it. It depends on people who like the news. If you like the news, this is easy. But if you don't like the news, or if you don't watch the news a lot, like for example, like Raja, she said, I don't care about the news. Then a lot of these words are new. So it's a bit hard to.
I watch the news, but in Arabic, not in English.
I see.
This is the problem.
Yeah, you have to start watching the news in English now, especially at this
not
level.
Watching in the Twitter. Twitter, yes, I start reading.
But actually, but you know what, Sana?
From the included, I understand, but not every word. I understand.
That's
Yes.
great. That's good. You don't
Yes.
actually, you don't need to understand every word. It's not important. You can just, get the general idea. That's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why.
But did you know, Sana, that it's easier to watch the news in English than read it? Do you know why? Because when you're watching it, if you hear a word and then you see what's happening on the news report, then you can get an idea. So if for example the news reporter says, and today 10,000 people took part in a demonstration, so maybe you don't know what they're saying, but then they show you a lot of people, يتظاهروا طالعين قدام مبنى برلمان, so you see so demonstration it means تظاهر. فأنت تبدي تربطي في الحاجات من غير ترجمة أو مجهود، لأن اللي بيقولها أنت بتشوفيه في المشهد. فممكن الفيديوهات في البداية ممكن يجوك أسهل من القراءة نص فقط، لأن لما يبدأ تقرير مرئي مرات يسهل لك، يعني حتى تسمع الكلمة وتشوفي شنو يدون. Or you can mix. You can, read a little bit, watch a little bit, so you don't get bored, maybe. So correct. Okay, take part in demonstrations. All right, Malak. What about protest? Protest what?
Against something.
That's correct. Yeah. And Raja, what do you think of take? Take what?
I think take a report. No, take somebody to hospital.
That's correct. That's correct. And this means now we use publish.
Publish a report.
Publish a report. All right. And Malak, what about meet? How can we use, excuse me, meet?
Meet.
Okay, let's leave meet. It's a little hard. What about discover?
Discover something new.
Right. Okay, and accept or reject? What do you think, Raja? Accept and reject?
An offer.
That's right. Yeah. Sana, what about go?
Go on strike.
Go on strike. Go on strike. Correct. And Malak, what about call off?
Call off a strike.
Correct. Call off a strike. So this means, Raja, how can we use meet?
Meet a target.
Right, meet a target. That's it. All right, so all of these words are related to the news. So these are some of the words. Now, I don't know if you know their meanings, but I think it's better if we check the meanings quickly in the summary, and then we can use them in the, because we're going to use these words and these phrases, we're going to use them in the reading. So let's take a quick look at the meanings first. Here it is. Okay, so we have a debt. What does debt mean in Arabic when we say debt?
ديون ولا؟
Yes. Dain or diyun, correct. All right. When we say pay off, when we pay off, like here, pay off your debt. What does it mean in Arabic, pay off? And if you check the example, maybe it can help you guess the meaning. It says, a lot of countries are finding it hard to pay off their debts. What do you think?
يدفع أو دفع أو كيف.
Yes, بالضبط. أن يخلصوا ديونهم، يدفعوا ديونهم. زي لما يسددوا، هي هذه الكلمة دقيقة صح؟ لأن pay بروحها عادة يدفع، لكن pay off اللي هو التسديد أكثر، يعني تسديد الدين أو تسديد العجز أو correct. All right, a demonstration. What's this in Arabic, demonstration? What do you think? And here, let me show you the example. Maybe it can help you. It says 30,000 people took part in the demonstration.
يظاهروا.
Yes, تظاهرة. Correct. That's right. A demonstration هي مظاهرة تظاهر. So, okay, protest. Protest, it says to say or show that you disagree with something. A large crowd were protesting against the war. What do you think, Malak?
objection
Objection, but in Arabic?
محتاجين أو معترضين يعني.
اعتراض، معترضين, yes. معترضين أو ضد شيء معين. If you're against something and you want to show it, this is the meaning of protest. هم عادة protest و demonstration مربوطات ببعض. لأن عادة الناس اللي هي تطلع demonstration هم عادة يطلعوا باش protest، باش يعارضوا قرار معين، حاجة معينة، فمربوطات الكلمات ببعض. Okay, a target. I think target is kind of clear, right?
Yes.
The company has already met its sales target. So maybe the target, yes, exactly. So the company wants to sell 10,000 cars and they reached maybe 10,500. فخلاص they met their target. They reached their target. هذه الفكرة. وصلوا يعني للهدف. Discover, I think all of you know discover. ما أعتقدش جديدة discover. Yeah. Reject is also clear. Opposite of accept. So when you reject something, it means you refuse it. You don't accept it. You say no. I don't accept it. A strike. I don't know if you know this word, but
Yes.
اعتصام.
yes.
إضراب.
Yes. إضراب اعتصام. إضراب اعتصام صح. هذا المعنى. To call something off, it means to cancel something. So for example, the match was called off because of the bad weather. So call off is almost exactly like cancel.
Cancel, yeah.
Yeah.
Cancel.
When you cancel something, it means you call it off. It's not going to happen. This is the meaning. Okay, let's see if we have any other tips. نشوف وجهات تانية فوق. ما فيش تip واحدة بس معنا. Okay. So we have two new nouns. So people who take part in a demonstration, الأشخاص نفسهم، الناس نفسهم, we call them demonstrators. Demonstrators. المتظاهرين نفسهم هذا. Okay. والمعترضين أو اللي هم اللي يطلعوا يديروا protest نقول لهم protesters. عادة في النشرة excuse me، في النشرة يستعمل فيهم شبه الكلمتين هما زي نفس الشيء. يقول لك protesters مثلا كذا كذا داروا كذا. demonstrators شبه نفس المعنى. لأن هم اللي يتظاهروا أصلا هم protesters. هم مش متظاهرين أنهم موافقين. هم في العادة متظاهرين أنهم معارضين يعني. ففي النشرة يستعمل فيهم شبه نفس الشيء. protester اللي هو معترض أو متظاهر. demonstrator متظاهر معترض. معنى شبه نفس الشيء. All right, so now we know some of the words we're going to use in the exercise. Let me take you back to our exercise and let me show you what we're going to do. So we're going to listen to a few news reports. Actually, we're going to listen to 4 different stories. All right, so we're going to listen to 4 stories on the news. But before we listen to them, I just want you to take a look at the photos, just the photos, okay? So photo A, what's going on here, Sana, in photo A? What do you think? Without reading anything,
I think there is a bit people demonstrator.
Yeah, so you think there's some kind of demonstration and lots of demonstrators or lots of protesters. Okay, but what are they protesting? What do you think?
I don't know. Even there is no sign about anything. I don't know.
All right. Okay, Malak, what's this in part B? What do you think is going on? What's the news report about in part B? What do you think?
I think it's
What can you see in the photo?
jewelry, golds,
Jewelry,
and
gold,
coins.
but is it new? Is it old? Do you think it's modern, or do you think it's historical, or what do you
It's
think?
old.
It
It's
looks old to
yeah.
you?
Yes.
All right, okay. And here in the in photo C, what do you think this is about, Raja? In this photo C, what do you think? What do you think the news report is going to be about here in photo C? What do you think, Raja? Raja, are you there? Can you hear us? I think Raja disappeared.
I'm here.
All right, okay.
It's mute and I forgot it.
Sorry, it's what?
I'm speaking and it's mute.
It was mute. It was on
Yeah.
mute. Okay. Okay. What's going on?
I don't know it in English.
Okay, in Arabic, what is it?
I think على الاقتصاد أو هيك.
Economy. It's about the economy.
Maybe.
Good guess. Maybe you're right. It's about the economy. But why do you think it's about the economy?
I have no idea.
Is there a relationship between smoke and the economy?
I think so.
What do you think, Sana? Do you think there's a relationship between smoke and the economy?
No, I think about the pollution.
You think about pollution?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even environment, maybe.
Environment.
Affect the environment.
Environment, pollution, something about the environment. But I also think maybe there's an indirect relationship, right? Because
maybe Raja correct. It's a factory and maybe
exactly. And factories are important for the economy, of course.
Yes.
And or maybe it's about producing energy, producing electricity, maybe, right?
Yeah.
And maybe this is also important for the economy because you've got research, labs, maybe you've got factories. Well, maybe. We're not sure. Okay, let me show you the last photo, photo D. Okay, what's going on in photo D, Malak? What do you think? Where's this place? What's this? And what's happening? What can you see in the photo?
It's like a meeting.
It's some kind of meeting. Okay.
Yes. And a political meeting.
For politicians or okay.
Yes.
So it's some kind of political meeting. Okay. But can you guess where the place is? What's the place?
I think I don't know what is the name of this. Maybe theater, something like theater.
But do you know this blue logo?
Yes, maybe American.
No.
What do you think, Sana?
United
what?
United States.
United something, but not United States. United.
I think in Arabic الأمم المتحدة.
Yes. And how do we say it in English? United. US
no.
أمريكا. USA أمريكا. لكن الأمم المتحدة اللي هي باش يقولوا لها ديما بالانجليزي يقولوا UN. Have you heard of the United Nations? United Nations.
Yeah.
United Nations. ويختصروا فيها ديما يقول لك UN. the UN resolution مش عارف القرار الأمم المتحدة UN blah blah. So UN is the United Nations اللي هي الأمم المتحدة بالإنجليزي. So what do you think, Sana and Raja? Do you think this place is in the UN? Maybe some kind of UN meeting or
Yeah.
conference or something?
Yes.
Maybe. All right, okay. So let me play the reports for you. And it says here, listen to today's news, put photos A to D in the same as the news stories. So you have to remember that when we're listening now, the tracks are not in the same order as they're not in the same order as the pictures. Do you get the idea? يعني المقاطع نفسها مش فركسات مش شرط مشيات مع الصور. All right?
All right.
So because after we listen, then we are going to match the words to the pictures. All right? So let's start. Let me play the track for you. Here we go. Where is it? All right, here it is.
40.
Hello, I'm Moira Dixon, and here are today's main news stories. World leaders have met to discuss the global economy at the World Trade Summit in Hamburg. EU finance ministers have asked for more help from the World Bank for countries that are having problems paying off their debts. Outside the conference hall, thousands of people have taken part in a demonstration to protest against the World Bank's economic policies. The demonstration began peacefully, but soon turned violent as protesters tried to enter the conference hall and were stopped by police. At least 40 people have been arrested and 6 police officers have been taken to hospital. A new report on the environment has just been published. The report shows that the UK has failed to meet its targets to reduce CO2 emissions. However, Environment Minister Jack Clark told reporters that some progress has been made.
We haven't met our targets yet, that's true, but we've made good progress. The amount of CO2 produced by the UK has already been reduced by 2.7% in the last 3 years, which will help reduce global warming. But we could and we should do better, and I'm sure that we will.
Over 1,500 ancient gold and silver objects have been discovered by a retired teacher in Wales. 72-year-old Gareth Jones found the treasure 5 days ago while he was walking around his brother-in-law's farm with a metal detector. Experts say the find, which includes coins, swords and items of jewellery, dates back to the 7th century and could be worth over £10 million. One of the UK's leading archaeologists, Professor Geoffrey Baxter, says that the government needs to act fast to make sure the treasure stays in public hands.
Some of the items still haven't been examined, but this is already the most important archaeological discovery this century. But why haven't we heard anything from the government yet? It's important that these pieces are kept for the nation and eventually put on display in the British Museum. If the government doesn't act soon, some of them might end up in private collections.
Okay, so I know you heard a lot of information, but we're going to listen again, so don't worry. So the first, which picture did they talk about first? Is it A, is it B, is it C?
I think C.
C. Yes.
C?
A. Maybe A. C, I think, yes.
C, A.
The first one may be A and the second C.
Second is C.
Yes. We talk about the pollution and CO2.
What about the third one?
B.
B, the third one is B.
Yes.
And this means the last one is D.
Yes.
I think so.
All right, okay, so now we're going to listen again, but this time I'm going to stop I'm going to stop after each part, okay? But you have to remember that when we're gonna finish the gaps, because you're gonna finish the gaps, you're gonna hear more information than you need. Do you get the idea? So in the report itself, there are more words than you need. يعني مش حتقول هذا بس هي حتقول هالبحاجات. لكن انتوا بتاخدوا اجابتكم بس يعني. Do you get the idea?
Yeah.
So you need to listen, I think, a little carefully. So let's do that. Let me play it again. And I'll try to stop after each part.
Track 40.
Hello, I'm Moira Dixon, and here are today's main news stories. World leaders have met to discuss the global economy at the World Trade Summit in Hamburg.
Okay, so world leaders have met to discuss the global
Economy.
Economy.
Right. You're right. Okay, the global economy. That's good.
It's clear.
Yes. Very nice. Okay. طب تعطيكم معلومات إضافية لكن عادي اسمها خلاص بعدين بتخش في الخبر اللي بعد. So let's continue.
EU finance ministers have asked for more help from the World Bank for countries that are having problems paying off their debts. Outside the conference hall, thousands of people have taken part in a demonstration to protest against the World Bank's economic policies. The demonstration began peacefully but soon turned violent as protesters tried to enter the conference hall and were stopped by police. At least 40 people have been arrested and 6 police officers have been taken to hospital.
How many people have been arrested?
40 people.
Right. 40. And how many police officers have been taken to hospital?
60.
6 or 60?
6. I think 6.
Maybe 6.
Correct.
I hear 6. Yeah.
Yes, it's actually 6.
I hear 60. I don't know.
Maybe because you're used to Libyan news, maybe, Sana.
Maybe, yes.
Oh, the numbers are always big.
Yes.
Okay. Now let me scroll down شو تروحنا اللي بعدهم الزوز. طبعا في معلومات إضافية نفس الشيء بيضيفوها لكم. It's okay. إحنا لين يجي الجزء اللي نبوه. So let's listen again.
A new report on the environment has just been published. The report shows that the UK has failed to meet its targets to reduce CO2 emissions.
A new report on the
environment.
That's right. The environment. That's right. And the report shows that the UK has failed to meet its
Targets.
Correct. Okay, let's continue listening.
However, Environment Minister Jack Clark told reporters that some progress has been made.
We haven't met our targets yet, that's true, but we've made good progress. The amount of CO2 produced by the UK has already been reduced by 2.7% in the last 3 years.
Progress.
Right.
Progress.
2.7.
Progress.
2.7%.
That's it. Progress and 2.7%. Okay, so this means the second and the third part are all correct. We can check the next one. شوفوا زوز الأخيرات. في بعضها. Okay, so these are the last 2 parts. So let's continue. Here we go.
Which will help reduce global warming. But we could and we should do better, and I'm sure that we will.
Over 1,500 ancient gold and silver objects have been discovered by a retired teacher in Wales.
1,000.
1,500.
Correct. 1,500.
Yeah.
By a retired who? What's the job?
Teacher.
Right.
Teacher.
Correct. Yeah, retired teacher. That's actually correct. Okay, let's continue.
72-year-old Gareth Jones found the treasure 5 days ago while he was walking around his brother-in-law's farm with a metal detector. Experts say the find, which includes coins, swords and items of jewellery, dates back to the 7th century and could be worth over £10 million. One of the UK's leading archaeologists, Professor Geoffrey Baxter, says that the government needs to act fast to make sure the treasure stays in public hands.
Some of the items still haven't been examined, but this is already the most important archaeological discovery this century. But why haven't we heard anything from the government yet?
Century.
Century. That's correct.
Government, yeah.
Government. And government. From the government yet. Correct. All right, so let's listen to the rest of it and let's see.
It's important that these pieces are kept for the nation and eventually put on display in the British Museum. If the government doesn't act soon, some of them might end up in private collections.
All right, so that's the end of it. All right, very nice. So all of the answers are correct. We completed the news reports. All right, so I think we need to have a little break just for prayer. So let's pray and then we'll come back to grammar and we'll talk a little bit about what happened in each sentence, okay? So,
Okay.
so we
About the
finished.
order of the picture.
Yeah, so what's the order now? What's the order?
The same order we read.
Yeah, A,
now.
B, A, B.
A, B.
No, A, C, B, D. Yes.
Correct, correct. A and A, actually A, AD first. لأن الموضوع الاجتماع هو الدوشة اللي صايرة على الاجتماع, right? So AD, AD ينادوا عليهم مع بعض الاجتماع والتظاهرة. AD, and then after that C, when they talked about economy, وبعدين B, موضوع المجوهرات اللي لقوهم, the last one. So A, D, C, B. All right, okay. So let's have a quick break for prayer and we'll come back again and we'll talk a little bit about the grammar. Okay, so see you in a few minutes.
Okay.
All right.
See you.
Bye. Okay. Excuse me. Who's back? Malak, Sana.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we can continue. Where did Raja go? Oops. Okay, sorry, just give me a second. I think Raja disconnected. I need to quickly check her. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, let's continue. I think we can continue. So we listened to the news reports and we completed the gaps before the break. Now let's talk a little bit about the present perfect. Of course, all of you know the present perfect. We talked about the present perfect before, and I'm sure you also know the relationship between the present perfect and the past simple. If you remember in unit, I think unit 1, when we first started intermediate, do you remember the lesson where we talked about, maybe not unit 1, maybe unit 2, talked about the relationship between the past simple and the present perfect, when to use the past simple, when to use the present perfect. So we talked about that in detail in the beginning of the course. And now we want to talk a little bit about how to use the present perfect, especially the present perfect simple, not continuous, of course, because we have two different ways of using the present perfect simple. We can either use it in active, which is, you know, normal present perfect simple, or you can even use it in passive. So we're gonna use it in both ways in this grammar exercise, okay? But the general idea, or the important thing you need to remember, is the present perfect simple. Usually when we use it in the news, it talks about something that happened a short time ago and we don't say when. Of course, this is always the case with the with the present perfect. We never say when. Do you get the idea? We just know that it's recent, that it happened recently, but we never say when. So can you see these two examples? Let's talk about these two examples here. It says at least 40 people have been arrested. The UK has failed to meet its targets. So number one, it says which verb form in bold is active and which one is passive. What do you think, Sana? Which one do we use present perfect simple in the active, and which one did we use it in the passive?
The first sentence is present perfect simple passive.
Interesting. Correct.
Because been
Right.
have been arrested. The structure of the
Correct. And also we don't know the agent, right? We don't know who arrested them. مش مذكور اللي هو السبجكت اللي دار الارست نفسه. Who is it? The police, the army, probably the police, but we don't know.
Yes.
So correct. Okay. So this means the first one is passive, and this means the second one is active, right? Has failed, because in the active examples, and you can clearly see the UK, this is our subject, right? Its targets the object and meet the verb, right? So we have subject, verb.
Yes.
Sorry. Has failed هي الverb. Has failed. هذا الفعل الرئيسي has failed to meet its targets. Okay, so this is question number 1. We already answered it. So what about number 2, Sana? What's the rule, do you think, to make present perfect simple when it's in the active and when it's in the passive? How do we make them? What do we do?
Have or has.
Okay, yes.
Have or has. Plus verb in present in participle. The verb.
Correct. But are you talking about the passive or active now?
Active, not passive.
Right. And in the passive, how do we make it in the passive?
Have or has plus been plus the verb in the past participle.
Correct. This is how we form it. And of course, in the passive, we put the object in the beginning, right? 40 people, this is the object.
Yes.
Because we always start in the opposite, upside down. بالعكس. نبدأ بالobject. But in the active ديما نبدأ بالترتيب العادي اللي هو subject, verb و object. طريقة الترتيب الطبيعي. Alright, very good. So هذه الفكرة كجرامر يعني كتركيب. Now let's talk a little bit. It says here, look at the words in blue in the speech bubbles. What is the difference in meaning between these words? Where do they usually go in the sentence? Let's take a look. Let me show you the blue words. So let's start with the first one. Here. A new report on the environment has just been published. Just been published. What does this mean? When we say just has just been published.
A few minutes happened.
Yes. So you're saying that just we use it when something is recent.
Recently happened or now.
You're right. Correct. For things which are very recent, we use just. So when we say a new report on the environment has just been published, this is fresh, right? Maybe today, maybe yesterday. It means very recently. Correct.
Yes.
All right. What about when we say we haven't met our targets yet? We haven't met our targets yet. What does this mean, Malak? Yet, when we say we haven't met our targets?
Not now. Not at this time.
Correct. This means at this time, still not, right?
Yeah.
But do you expect it will happen later, maybe in the future, when we say we haven't met our targets yet, or we haven't started the lesson yet, or she hasn't arrived from Italy yet? Does this mean that maybe in the future this action will happen? Or do you think it's not going to happen?
Maybe, yes. Yes, maybe.
Correct. Usually when we use yet, it means the action hasn't happened, and it might happen in the future. But my question now, maybe for Sana, is when we say yet, do we use it with positive sentences or with negative sentences, or what kind of sentences do we use the word yet?
I think with the negative and the question.
Correct. But can you use it? Can you use it in a positive sentence for me? Do you think we can use it in a
Yes, I
positive?
think in the end.
Correct. Usually,
don't know.
usually yet is at the end. You're right. You said two important points, that we use yet with negatives and with questions, and we put it at the end, which is true. But can we use it? Can we use yet for positive sentences?
No.
Correct, Malak. We can't. Yet, yeah, we can't put it with positives, because if you try it, if we say we met our targets yet, it doesn't make sense. It's strange, right?
Yes.
And you can't use it. But if you can use it in a question, you can say, have we met our targets yet? No, we haven't. Yes, we have, for example. So we can use it in questions, and we can use it in negatives. Like you said, so now we have to put it in the end of the sentence. But what about just? Can we use just in negatives and questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you put it?
Yeah.
Can you put it in a
Put it
question?
on the question.
Can you put it in a question, Malak?
No, I think no. Just in a positive sentence.
What about a question? Can you try put it in a question?
I think.
Can you give me an example? An example of a question?
No, it is not in a question.
You can't put it in a question.
Yes.
What, would you agree, Sana? Do you think you can put it or not in a question?
I think no, not put it in the question, because it's the answer of the question has just.
Okay, has he just arrived? Has he arrived? Has he just arrived? Has he finished? Has he just finished? Has he just finished? Has he been there? Has he just been there? I think you're right. It sounds a little strange in the questions. In negatives, he just hasn't been. Yes, I think Malak is right. You can't use it in questions and negatives. We have to use it in positives. But where do we put just? Do we put it after at the end of the sentence, like yet, or do we put it? Where do we put it? How do we use?
After the verb.
After the auxiliary, you mean?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, we use just after the auxiliary. What about already? In the example, when we say the UK has already been reduced by blah, blah, blah. What do you think? And first of all, the meaning. Let's talk about the meaning of already. When we say the amount of CO2 produced in the UK has already been reduced by 2.7% in the last 3 years. What does it mean already? What do you think, Sana, when we use already like this?
I think it's already. I think it's the work done, already done.
Correct.
Like
yes, you're right. We use already when the thing is done. Correct. But is it done like recently, or was it done maybe earlier than we expected? What do you think?
Yes, earlier.
Correct. Yes, we usually use already when something is done, maybe earlier than expected, right? So, for example, maybe you expect the lesson to finish at 6 o'clock, but then you ask Hajar or Malak, and she says the lesson has already been finished. So you say, okay, so you finished early today. You get the idea. So already it usually means a little before expected. Yeah, the fikra. So in a way, already is a bit like the opposite of just, right?
Yes.
Because just it's something fresh, something recent, just now.
Yes. No.
But already it's
before now.
Yeah, before now. It's a little old. It's done and it's been some time. So it's not new, it's a bit old. Okay, so we talked about just, yet, and already. Let's see if we have any other words. We have still.
It's like yet.
You're right. Because if you check it here, it says some of the items still haven't been examined. If we change it using yet, we will say some of the items haven't been examined yet. Right?
Yet.
Yeah, so if you want to use yet, just put yet in the end of the sentence and remove still.
Yeah.
And we can do it here the same way. We still haven't met our targets, right? We still haven't met our targets. والنحو yet. So this means the meaning
And
is
after
that,
the subject, we put it after subject. Yeah.
that's right. This means before the auxiliary. Before the auxiliary. Because we use already after the auxiliary. بالنسبة لي already. لكن still is before the auxiliary. Very nice. بعدين جدنا yet مرة تانية. Okay, so all of these blue words are, of course, they're kind of important when we're talking about the present perfect. يعني كلهم يعتبروا time phrases that we use with the present perfect. Okay. Now it says, look, okay. هذه ملاحظة زي ملاحظة اليات. نفس القصة. قال لك we use still in negative sentences with the present perfect. Some of the items still haven't been examined. معناها ما يمشيش حالها بالpositive. Okay, now before we do more exercise, let's take a look at the summary. خلينا نشوف ممكن في tips في الموضوع هذا. Let's take a quick look and then we'll see if we need to go back. All right, so here we are. So درس اليوم اللي هو present perfect simple. سواء active, سواء passive بالنسبة لموضوع recent events والnews. Okay. So هذا موضوع الفرق في الactive, subject, auxiliary, past participle. هذا في الactive. لكن بالنسبة للpassive هنستعمله اللي هو السبجكت أو الobject. I haven't been taken مثلا. I haven't been visited. He hasn't been arrested مثلا. Okay. We often use passive verbs in radio. Okay, هذه ملاحظات معودات من درس الباسيف لو تتذكروا فيه. It says we often use passive when we don't know. So passive is very common in the radio and TV reports and newspaper articles. So this means if you're watching the news or reading Twitter reports, maybe you can notice that they use a lot of passive. هتلاحظوا يستعمل فيه بكثرة passive. So they use it in the news a lot. All right, and the next part, this is the part we were talking about, the differences between just, yet, already, and still. So just, it means something happened a short time ago. And we put just after the auxiliary. Okay, بالنسبة لي yet, it means something hasn't happened, but we think it will happen in the future. يعني مسألة وقت بتصير. Okay, and we put it at the end. At the end. تمام? But then عندنا already to say something happened sometime in the past, maybe sooner than expected. يعني الشيء صار قبل الوقت. Okay, and we put it after the auxiliary. معناها already or just زوز نحط فيهم after the auxiliary. Just already. بعدين عندنا still معناها زي yet. It started in the past, it continues in the present. We put still before the auxiliary. Some of the items still haven't been examined. Okay, هذه النقطة اللي قلناها just already ما يمشوش في negatives. yet ما تمشيش في positive. And we only use still in negative sentences with the present perfect. أيوة. still قصتها زي اليت. Only in negative. مش حتمشيش حالها في positive. Can you see this wrong example? Some of the items still have been examined. Can you see it? It's incorrect because this is positive. It's not negative. Yeah. فزليت يعني سواء في المعنى سواء في الاستخدام. The only difference is the position. بالنسبة ليت في الآخر still قبل ال auxiliary. هذا الفرق الوحيد. But let's see لو في ملاحظات ثانية. No, مفيش. Alright, معناها مفيش حاجة جديدة. We can do the exercises. So let's do the exercise now. I think it says, look again, which are simple. Okay, this is an easy question, but it's nice. So what we want to do in exercise number 5 is we want to go here and look at كلهم ال present perfect اللي هم بالbold. We have to decide, is it active or is it passive? That's all. So number 1, let's start with number 1. So it says here, world leaders have met to discuss the global economy. Is this present perfect simple active or passive? What do you think?
Active.
Correct.
Active.
That's right. At least 40 people have been arrested. Active or passive?
Passive.
Passive. 40 people have been arrested. Passive.
Yeah.
6 police officers have been taken to hospitals. Active or passive?
Even
Passive.
Passive. That's correct. A news report on the economy, on the environment has just been published. Passive, again, correct. The UK has failed to meet its targets.
Active.
Correct. We haven't met our targets yet.
Active.
Yes, but we've made good progress.
Active.
Correct. We've made good progress. Active. The amount of CO2 produced by the UK has already been reduced by 2.7%.
Passive.
That's correct. It says ancient gold and silver objects have been discovered by a retired teacher in Wales. Passive. Some of the items still haven't been examined.
Passive.
Passive.
Why haven't we heard anything from the government?
Active.
So the passive لاحظوه كتر في النشرة يستعمل فيه بكثرة. يعني حتى لو تلاحظوا الجهات اللي فيها active اقتباسات من أشخاص، اقتباسات من متكلمين لو تلاحظوا، صح ولا؟ هذا لما قال we haven't met our targets، هذا لما جابوا مقابلة مع الوزير قاعد يدوي. لكن كلام المذيع نفسه لو تلاحظوا شبه كل اللي قال المذيع كله كان في الأكتيف، في الباسيف سوري. فالباسيف شائع جدا في النشرات والتقارير والحاجات هي حتلقوه كاتر يعني جزء مهم في النشرات. All right, now let's move to listening because we answered number 5 correctly. So which one are active, passive? We found them. Now in listening here it says present perfect simple or active or passive. اوكي هني مجرد قصة ان بينبهنا للauxiliaries كعادتهم البوزيتيف auxiliaries دائما weak form يعني نطقهم خفيف. سواء الهاف حتسمعها هف والهاز حتسمعها هس والبين حتسمعها بن مش حتسمعها بين. I don't know ممكن انت مرة سألتي سنة قلت لي هل هي بين ولا بن صح ولا؟ I think it's you that asked the question. I don't remember if it was you or not. Was it you? You once asked, is it been or been? ولا مش أنتي سألتي سؤال؟
لا لا مش no.
ممكن نجاة. Yeah, I can't remember. But the correct answer is both are correct. الزوز صح سواء بين ولا بن. الغالب حتسمعوا بن لأن هي weak form مش ما فيهاش stressed. فهذه الفكرة. So I want you to just pay a little bit attention to أمال weak forms كيف حتسمعوهم خفاف قلبه الهف والهز والبن مش حتسمعوهم زي ما متعودين عليهم يعني. So let me play these two examples for you. Let's listen.
World leaders have met to discuss the global economy. A new report on the environment has just been published.
Okay, have you heard it? New world leaders have met to discuss, have met to discuss. A new report on the environment has just been published. All right, now, second part of the question, الجزئية الثانية. This time, دوركم انتو حتكتشفوا أو حتحاولوا تطلعوا which one is present perfect active and which one is passive. And you're going to listen to 8 sentences. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop after each sentence, okay? And I'll give you a chance to tell me. So you tell me, is this active? Is this, or is it passive? All right? So let's play the track and let's find out.
1.
A new survey has just been published.
Is this active or passive?
Passive.
Right.
Passive.
Mm-hmm.
2.
Correct.
The government has just published a new survey.
Active.
Yes.
Active.
Yes.
3.
3 people have been taken to hospital.
Passive.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Passive.
Correct.
4.
The police have taken 3 people to hospital.
Active.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
5.
The government hasn't met its targets yet.
Mm-hmm.
Active.
Correct.
The government hasn't
Correct.
get the target net.
Right.
6.
The targets haven't been met yet.
Passive.
Yes.
Passive.
That's correct.
7.
The pay offer has already been rejected.
Passive.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Passive.
Yes.
8.
The workers have already rejected the pay offer.
Active.
Active. Yes.
Active.
Is it active or pactive? Pactive هذه جاية بين الباسيف والactive ولا؟
لا active.
هذه زي تعرفي شنو زي في الامتحانات يا جماعة اللي بتمشي true and false تديلك هيك false بعدين تديلك معها هيك true فهمتي؟ انت وانت وضميرك يا ممتحن خذها كيف ما تبي تاخذها. فباكتب هذه نفس القصة صار لها مبهمة الهوية. Okay. All right. Let's listen to the next one. ما اختفت. Oops, شكلي درت stop.
Track 40.
أيوة.
6.
The targets haven't been met yet.
جاوبناها أعتقد.
7.
The pay offer has already been rejected.
هذه جاوبناها.
8.
آخر واحدة.
The workers have already rejected the pay offer.
جاوبناهم كلهم active. الأخيرة active كانت. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. يا جاوبناهم. أنا شبحت التراك المقطع كملنا حساب وقفت أنا ما القصد. Alright, very nice. So all of the answers are correct. أنا بتحط لكم فكرة الactive والpassive الأمور طيبة. We can do number 8. Alright, so in number 8 it says, read these news reports, put the verbs in brackets in the present perfect simple. Okay, simple active or passive. كويس exercise. Alright, so you have to decide. هو كلهم present perfect تمام. كلها present perfect من أولى لآخر. بس عليكم أنتم بتقرروا هل هو passive أو active على حسب السياق اللي بتشوفوه. كان لقيته واضحة subject مذكورة معناها المفروض بيمشي active. لو لقيته الصيغة تبان كأنه مش مذكور الagent أو السبجكت معناها بتمشي مع passive. And the verb اللي بكم تتحولوه أو تستعملوه موجود in the brackets في القوس. Okay? بين القوسين.
Okay.
So take a few minutes. We have 10 gaps, and when you're ready, we can check your answers, okay? So you can start. Take some time. Okay, are you ready or not yet?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So. Okay, so let's divide them. Okay, so Malak, you can do the first two reports. Okay, you can start.
The government's pay offer have rejected by the transport union. The union leader, Ellen Stone, has just confirmed that the train drivers
Okay, continue.
and Ellen Stone
What do you think? Malak, are you there? Hello. Did you disconnect? Okay, I think she disconnected. Okay, Sana, you can do نديروا مقاطعك انت لبين ما تولي ملك. Okay. Rock singer.
Okay. Rock singer high gig ولا؟
Yeah, high
gig.
Okay.
Has just arrived
Right.
in the UK for her sell-out tour. Her second album.
Serenity.
Okay, Serenity has already Serenity has already sold over 5 million copies.
But what's the past of sell?
Sell. I forget the.
It's irregular, not ed.
Yes, sold maybe. No, not LD.
Sold.
Sold. SOLLL.
لا LD زي tell told sell sold زي بعضهم. tell والsell زي بعض. Tell told sell sold. All right, so has already sold.
But I still confused between the active and passive. Maybe this sentence passive has already been sold.
Okay, let's check the next one and then we'll come back and to this one. نشوف الأخيرة. And we.
Okay. And we have just heard it.
Okay. Right.
That the actor Henry Robson has taken to the hospital.
Okay. Oops. Okay, yeah.
After a car accident.
Okay. Has taken
his condition.
His condition.
His condition has been described as a serious.
Okay. Okay, so this means you have to also do Sana's Malak's sentences. So let's go to the beginning. If you want to change anything, of course you can change, Sana.
Yes, and the first one have been rejected.
Okay. Have been rejected. All right. And number 2?
Okay. Number 2, the union leader, Alina Stone, has just confirmed.
Okay. All right. And number 3?
Okay. Next week's postal strike has been called off.
Okay. Has been called off.
Mhm.
And number 4?
Scientists in Cambridge have just found.
Okay. All right. Number 5?
The gene that causes asthma. The gene is one of many allergy genes that has been discovered.
All right. Hmm. Okay, so let's check these answers from the listening. How many of them do you think are correct, Sana?
I don't know. I don't know.
More than 50% or less?
والله I don't know because I have some
تقريبين هيك
confused
هيك نقولوك. What do you think?
No.
Not sure?
You tell me. You tell me.
Okay, I'll play the CD for you so you can listen. Let's check. خلينا نشوف مع بعض.
Okay.
Track 43.
The government's pay offer has been rejected by the transport union. The union leader, Alan Stone, has just confirmed that train drivers will go on strike at midnight. However, next week's postal strike has been called off after the union accepted a pay offer of 3.4%. Scientists in Cambridge have found the gene that causes asthma. The gene is one of many allergy genes that have been discovered in the last few years. Rock singer Heidi G has just arrived in the UK for her sellout tour. Her second album, Serenity, has already sold over 5 million copies. And we've just heard that the actor Henry Robson has been taken to hospital after a car accident. His condition has been described as serious.
So this means we only have one mistake, right? Number 9 only.
Yes, has been taken, yes.
Yes, has been taken. الباقيات عندك number 1 and 5 كانت غلطة في الهاف وهاز بس. يعني مش في الأكتف والباسيف غير في البلورال والسنجلر بس يعني. So this is good.
This is have.
أيوة لأن genes plural مفروض. Yeah, so your answers are very good. Very good. غلطة واحدة تعتبر nothing. Alright, هذا المجمل العام.
Good. I don't think so because I try to understand the sentence before I choose the.
بالضبط.
Yes.
هو في
And
الجرامر.
sometimes you feel
correct.
It's difficult to understand. Yes.
Yes. هو في الجرامر المتقدم كله المفروض الطالب ما عادش يعتمد على القاعدة. قاعدة بروحها هتلقي روحك بتتلخبطي، لازم بتفهمي سياق الجملة شنو بيقول، وين تبدأ الجملة، وين في فول ستوب، وين تبدأ الجملة اللي بعده، وعلى يمين يدو. هذا حتلقي روحك تجاوبي من غير حتى استعمال قاعدة، من الفهم تلقي روحك تجاوبي فيها صح. Alright, so this is our
what I did now.
And it worked.
I did now.
Yeah, it worked well.
Yes.
You should always do this. It will help. So this means in our next lesson, inshallah, we'll finish our last exercise.
Inshallah.
And we'll talk about this topic, an interesting topic about the body. It's also about health. في كلام عن health. it's interesting, and about our behavior and why we do things. It's very interesting. All right, so thank you for your time, and I'll see you again on Monday.
Thank you.
You're
Inshallah.
welcome.
See
All
you.
right, see you.
Assalamu
Good
alaikum.
night. Alaikum salam. Bye-bye.